There's a Viper and Alchemist in my game, Jonathan. I'm not sure how fun this is really going to be.
It's going to be fun for one of the teams, I suppose, and the other team is going to be suffering either way. And that's the way these drafts kind of work out. I am keen on seeing just Ammar back on Viper. I think it's going to be really a bit of a troublesome lane for micke. It's just not fun. You're still ending up with a Viper versus Lesh, depending on where micke does decide to go. There are some really good forward wards here from Liquid. Like a very sneaky one behind the tier 1 tower mid and one by the ramp. They could try to chase down, but they're just hugging their tier 1, preempting any movement out from Falcons. Still, this forward vision should open up movements into the 4-minute rune. The 6-minute rune is going to be a big one. Try to apply that pressure onto this Tusk if at all possible.
Absolutely. We do see a lot of pressure being applied by both these sides into the mid lane. Like, it seems like there's a lot of emphasis being placed around that 5-6 minute mark. But of course, you do have the power rune timings as well coming out around that mark. So this ward surely going to be able to pay off here for Liquid, but we'll have to wait and see, as Falcons still being very, very patient on their side of the map. Seems like Liquid also going to prepare for perhaps an engagement by the river. But now Falcons going to move in. See if Liquid want to try and oblige by this fight.
This one's for all the
boxi will reveal himself for a moment. Malrine could go for the shards if he really wants, but he'll hold out for now. They'll move in onto Crit, but Crit is going to be just fine. Seems as though there is going to be no real chase. There was a blood grenade also thrown out, I believe, by boxi, which will really amount to nothing.
Yeah.
Bounty, oh, they don't get it. Very nice deny from Crit.
Right on point with that level 1 disruption. And that should set a good tone to kick off here for the side of Falcons. Just having a little bit of a lead coming out. Taking a look at that mid lane here for Malrine up against Nisha. We don't tend to see that mid Tusk too often nowadays. The matchup against the WindRanger shouldn't be the best at all top.
Yeah, Crit already being punished here by the side of Liquid as boxi moving in early on. Crit trying to survive the best he can, but no, he is gone. Liquid, a surprising initiation coming out. ATF though, looking for a trade, already onto Insania, and just look at the damage output. However, now ATF, he's also going to find himself in trouble, and he's gone! boxi with a double kill to get the game started. ATF, he thought he had his way with Insania, but not quite.
All right. It's a rough level 1 to go into when you've got that Nature's Prophet with the teleportation ready and just the Blightstone to enable those right clicks. You've got the best chain stun set up with just the Frostbite coming in and the Split Earth. And Crit, he can't do much with Disruption. It was handy for the Ruin. It's not that handy for the save here with its significant cooldown coming in, so didn't even have that to try to spam out. And they capitalized on that very nicely on Liquid. This is a good change of tone in comparison to how maybe passive the last game was for Liquid. Already getting that early activity out, getting that early pressure onto Ammar, it's going to feel great. And we're taking a look at the bot lane as well, where you are getting Saberlight on that Omni Knight up against Skitter on the Alk. This is a pretty interesting lane. We just haven't seen too much of that for Omni Knight in recent time. And again, this hero got pretty significantly changed with the Guardian Angel, which is probably not going to be the biggest factor for this hero in the off lane. Anyway, I am keen to see what Saberlight will go for in the build, more than likely just the usual Echo Saber, and how much he can really stop Skitter from farming, because despite that activity top, it's not, you know, you're leaving your bot lane alone. Omni Knight solo up against Alchemist Gyro doesn't do anything, so you're just farming as Ammar again.
Top lane just being completely targeted here from boxi. boxi with another great rotation, able to secure the Viper. And I'll tell you what, John, as a person who has played a couple games of Viper in my lifetime, you generally don't enjoy not dominating the lane like this. And, well, Crit, he is still being chased down by boxi. boxi, for a Sprout, kind of out of range, may just find it eventually, as Crit does have to take it. boxi, though, still chasing him down, can't quite finish the kill. Won't really matter, though, because you've got ATF, and that's the big target you really wanted. As bottom lane, they're going to try out the Saberlight. Saberlight taking a fair bit of damage on the way out, but he's not going to die.
Just a really durable hero on that Omni Knight. You've got the Repel up to regen through. You're still copping a lot of damage, and you're not stopping Skitter from farming, but at the least, you're getting that space to get some EXP, and this allows, again, this aggressive movement coming out here from boxi. He's just camping top, basically. He's ensuring that micke is not going to be slowing down. He's ensuring that we will see the Slush Rack have some nice early impact, perhaps threatening for that push onto the mid-tier 1, maybe rotating or just staying top and just clearing that out as well if the space is favorable. And that's a big shift for Liquid in comparison to last game, where, again, the early game just didn't go off to the start they were looking for.
boxi, again, bottom lane now, sneyking, the one being targeted. sneyking trying to get away. Those Saberlight still chasing him down, unable to quite finish the kill. They did run out of spells. But this threat of the Prophet from boxi, like this guy has been an absolute menace already with this teleportation. It just feels like these side lanes are never really safe when boxi's missing off the map.
No, they certainly aren't. And just, this is a little bit of a relief out for Falcons at the least. You know, Ammar can start to play his lane a little bit more, but the damage has been done. Liquid with his start on to a fantastic time here for Micke. The mid lane as well has been going fairly decently for Nisha. I think that's one lane we haven't really looked at with all the action across the map. Malrine isn't able to do as much to try to stop that farm. He's still keeping up, but he's not getting that matchup that we normally see him crush in, although...
saberlight actually the one running towards the boundary rune rather than staying within the lane, and to be fair, the creep wave was not there anyway, so he's just trying to find some value for his time. Nice little pull there from boxi, going to drag the wave back, but saberlight taking down sneyking. Sneyking still perfectly alive though for now, as it's going to be a nice creep wave coming in for the Omni Knight, so he won't have to worry about this pesky gyrocopter, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, but sneyking's doing his job, just again providing zoning to allow a skitter to focus on that farm. Ammar up top.
Oh, again, Ammar being caught. The Sprout a little bit off the mark, but blocking the way as ATF is just not being allowed a game here in game number 2. Already onto his 3rd death. And it is literally just boxi rotating every single time to set up, as now Crit also being caught here by Micke. Gonna be chased down, and that'll be a double out for the left track now. 0-5 from Team Liquid. What a turnaround here in game 2.
It's perfection in the laning phase. It's just all of this aggression coming in. The fact that they're not able to really collapse onto mid for Malrine as well. So they're the ones forcing the issue on Liquid to get this attention up top, which means the usual movement of Falcons onto the mid to play off the back of Malrine, it's not there. And we've seen this from Ammar. His early game tends to be a little bit slower. He goes back, he needs some farm, he needs some EXP. He's not a threat until those resources are poured in, even on something like the Viper. And Liquid recognized that after the first game. Course correct really nicely.
Oh, top. They're pinging at ATF again. This time, though, Insania may have gone a little bit too early. boxi is around the corner to help out if they wish, but Insania is dropping very low, though. No, here comes Micke. ATF just trying for the kill. Does get it, but it's going to cost his own life again. 4 deaths here for the Viper. And I think Insania, while he does need a bit of gold back the way of the Viper, he's still going to be very happy with that.
He's more than happy. He's, again, taking this attention up top, giving some really big kills out onto Micke, onto this lane, opening up the potential for a very fast push across the map if they wished so on Liquid, and ensuring Crit can actually stack, right? Like, Crit's having to play the lane. He's not able to stand back, shadow poison up, build up these camps, have some capture gold ready for the rest of the team, or just some flash farming ready for our Alcon Skitter. You don't have those resources. The aggression from Liquid early on is just way too much, and again, throwing off this tempo, although we'll try a little bit, but saberlight's pretty damn tanky.
It feels like you're at the stage for the Omni Knight where you just can't really deal with it, as now boxi moves in with the Sprout again, though sneyking able to run out for now, as now Skitter continuing onto the Omni. They really want the kill, but saberlight, he's just such a tanky boy, and they'll find a double. Sneyking and Skitter both dropping as Team Liquid, they are giving nothing back the way of Falcons.
Just no openings. They collapse in the right part of the map. Malrine's nowhere near to try to help save.
They're still trying. They are still trying. Malrine does rotate and he does get the Omni Knight kill, but in the meantime, ATF ends up dying at the top lane. His 5th death of the game.
And this is a complete stomp from Liquid early on. Just abusing this teleportation coming out from boxi, bringing out the guns with Nisha, who they don't really have clear answers. Like, yes, the Shadow Demon last pick is great. It needs level 6 to be great up against these heroes, and we're a long ways off from that for Crit. They'll try to smoke around here down bot in Falcons.
The smoke broken on boxi. Malrine. Oh, the shot. Oh, a little bit off the mark. Very unfortunate for Malrine. And that'll be a 3-man smoke, just amounting to nothing, really. They'll try to maybe into the mid lane or maybe into the dire triangle here, but nobody really showing apart from Nisha in the mid lane, and that is not going to be the easiest of targets.
Not an easy one to pin down at the moment.
I say that, he's got a double damage now, so Nisha, he wants to move in with the focus fire. Snowball will come up from Malrine. Nisha in a very awkward position is going to get caught out by the looks of it as he does go down, getting baited by the amplification rune. Insania also getting caught. 4 heroes in the mid lane to ensure they win that engagement.
That's exactly what Falcons needed to correct on. They finally match that aggression. They catch Liquid, overextending without their full toolkit in. You know, boxi couldn't teleport in, tried to sprout, tried to provide that angle to get a successful shackle off. And now that's the opportunity for Falcons to get some more going for themselves. Not the fastest push on the mid. That's not an amazing pusher at all, and you don't have great illusions to play with. But you're getting some room out. You know, it's activity for Ammar. Ammar probably just expressing joy that he's finally done something this game. I guess.
Sneyking, holding onto these bounty runes. 3 bounties just standing there for Sneyking as he will take all 3 of them. Very, very patient with the take as Nisha. Move in, see if he can find himself a gyrocopter kill. Does have the level 2 power shot if he can get enough damage out first. And Sneyking, well, he does have the raindrop, so will still remain safe. But here comes micke. That's 1 down. micke wants more. He's onto a mega kill streak already. Onto ATF they go. The Viper really has no way out of this fight, it seems, as they will try onto micke. Can they take him down? micke! Oh, he's gone. ATF will be happy about that, I believe. That is a lot of gold to go back his way.
That's a ton of gold to go away from Ammar. Even though he's not around for the EXP, which at level 5 he'd really appreciate, the gold is still a godsend right now for the side of Falcons. 5 to 11 Liquid. Despite all this activity, not maintaining that big of a net worth lead, less than 1k. At the same time, it's arguable that you're not getting the most.
Nisha. Another great kill here for Falcons if they can secure, but here comes the big fella. Here comes Saberlight, around to save the day. Nisha, he'll be fine for now. Sneyking and Malrine, though, looking like they might be in a little bit of danger. As Sneyking would at least go down. Malrine able to walk his way out. You don't lose Nisha again. They'll make sure the WindRanger does remain alive.
Pouring the resources down mid. They know the way Falcons likes to play. They collapse onto that mid, force all attention there, and then just try to take that tier 1. We're not seeing Falcons be consistently successful. That movement, they'll try again, but Nisha is fairly slippery. And again, you're still waiting for crit to hit that level 6 with the Demonic Purge. Almost there, just needs to soak a little bit more. Great defensive wards coming out here from Falcons at the least to watch these entrances, even one behind that mid-tier 1 that they've planted themselves. So they've got some info as to where Liquid might want to bring their forces to bear. And they're getting space out for Skitter, who is slowly starting to pull ahead. The Radiance is almost there, one more part away, just needs more time. I would say though, micke's timings are not that far behind this Alchemist. Normally when you have that Alch, you'd want to be a good 2k up, 3k up with lots of stacks. You don't have that in this game.
You certainly don't, and Sneyking right now, he won't have a life in this game as he is gone. Nisha with a nice rotation. In comes Malrine, but the shackle is out. They'll hold the tusk down. Snowball is there, back in onto the WindRanger. Here comes ATF, looking for some revenge against Liquid. It looks like they'll have the WindRanger, but they won't find anyone quite else. But I think they'll be more than happy with that trade, as Skitter will be the one to take the kill. And a very successful trade here for Falcons.
It's again another big one to find with that movement out from Nisha. I get what Nisha's trying to do, just again trying to play tempo, trying to play pickoffs. Has the damage, at least a little bit of damage with the Javelin coming in, and providing that space for this Lesh to just finish up this Bloodstone. Once this Bloodstone's done on Liquid, we've got to see a bigger connect. We need to see some play out from micke, join in, either for the top or the mid-tier 1, and try to leverage some of that damage in teamfights. That damage, that added radius, although marginal, is still substantial enough to have some impact. They'll go early, actually, with here.
They will. Into the mid lane they go. Liquid, Sneyking and Malrine. Obviously, you want the Tusk much, much more. Marine's still very patiently by the tier 1 tower. It's a great rotation point here for Falcons if they do need it. Malrine remaining very, very safe. Just on the right side of that tower. Around the creep wave, and it seems as though Liquid never really going to find the opening for that fight. Will retreat now, understanding that they have to look somewhere else, and they'll look top lane perhaps, because micke is on the chase here with crit. It's not really going to be able to break the gap, and doesn't really want to risk running into the Viper. Yeah, has somewhat recovered, and at level 7 that poison attack, even without any items up, it is still going to do a hell of a lot of damage.
And this vision game from Falcons, again, this vision that they've set up, watching these entrances, spots that smoke fading away. They can't reflank onto top. It looks really optimistic from Liquid as well to hit this right before the Bloodstone's done. Like you're around 150 gold away from micke at this point. You don't even have the levels in the Edict to directly translate into a very fast push here. The smoke doesn't pan out, but at the same time, I don't know if it was ever going to pan out at this game state.
So, it's the 13 now, 2k advantage the way of Falcons. I mean, Liquid still in control, it feels, of Falcons. definitely having a bit of a better time ever since that laning stage ended, because it was a pretty rough affair. Bottom lane, looks like they are going to find themselves a gyrocopter, so sneyking gonna have to fall. Nice twin gate usage here from the side of Liquid, and of course, that bottom tier 1 tower is going to be under siege, and I don't believe Falcons are necessarily going to be interested in trying to defend that.
Radiant called in the fortification.
It's the objective that they need on Liquid to start opening up the map more. Start to get some movement across. They've slowed down in the aggression since the laning phase. We were seeing all of those rotations out from boxi. Now they've settled into a farming pattern. They've expanded map control a little bit more onto bot. Tried to cut off the areas where Skitter would want to build up with his Radiance. They've got some forward vision to back that up as well, planting a pretty deep ward on the bot jungle. So they can start to play aggressive if they wanted to. The side of Falcons, it's almost similar to game 1 in their pacing, where they're more than willing to just play farm on all heroes if they can afford to. We'll see if Liquid will want to push that envelope. They've got that full Bloodstone ready in micke. This Leshrac can start to take point for the team, and if one good fight for the side of Liquid, a little poking and prodding onto those tier 1s with a value point in the Edict shouldn't be too hard to get some of those powers down to expand control again and try to cut off this out. This lead Skitter's building up is starting to expand to an astonishing rate.
Top lane, Viper Strike was committed onto Insania. He will not die to that though. Plenty of damage being dealt, but not quite enough to take his life, as there is going to be a 3-man smoke now coming up from the side of Falcons. They'll head down towards the bottom lane, see if they can catch saberlight with his pants down. Though saberlight, again, he's a pretty tanky target to try and go for, but they will jump in with the Walrus Punch. Saberlight taking about half his HP and worth of damage, and saberlight is gone. Tanky or not, cannot sustain the damage output that came out from Falcons. Is now Liquid trying to punish as best they possibly can. They'll find Crit first, but here comes Skitter. Skitter going to join the fray. They take down Boxi. They'll lose Crit, at least on the Shadow Demon, but micke trying to tank through it. Skitter, he's taking way too much damage. The shards are going to block the way from Nisha, but the power shot, it's going to fly through Skitter. He's still going to go for a run. Looks like he will make it out as micke is the one to go down. Meanwhile, Nisha gets stunned up, still sticking around by the twin gates. Will go for the shackle, but he's going to be so careful. Maureen, he's going to survive another day. Nisha really playing with fire now as the shards, it'll block the way. He has to go the other way out towards the west, and Nisha's been caught. Nisha still trying, but he is down. Meanwhile, Insania, he'll go for the freezing field. Is it going to be quite enough? It doesn't really seem like it. So ATF might drop, still trying to retreat. Saberlight, he'll take him down. Skitter still around towards the Roshan pit he goes, but Roshan is on the other side of the map right now, so Skitter, he's got no deny point. Back Saberlight now. Saberlight might be the one in trouble. He'll heal up though, but in comes Crit. Crit's the real carry now, it seems, as Crit. He's getting so many shadow poison stacks. He will take him down. Who even won the team fight?
I would say it still feels better for Falcons, but Liquid aren't too bad off. They just traded a lot more cores than you'd probably want to there. And just by virtue of having Skitter kite around that long, you're really happy with the presence of the Alk here. You're seeing the effect of that Radiance timing kicking in when you're trying to chase down the Alk. The missed chance starts to pile up, and micke is taking point. He's trying to do damage with that Bloodstone, trying to be durable. The saves were just kicking in here from the side of Falcons. Like all these great disruptions, snowballs to shards, every single thing having to line up perfectly to give Skitter that space. And for Skitter to see these opportunities to play with the vision, going up and down the ramp, getting these nice unstable concoctions, and Dragon's fight to be longer than it should have been for Liquid. Like the BKB flying in right in time as well.
Getting caught live. He does have his help behind him if he needs it. Shackle not going to quite latch. micke maybe going a little bit too far. The punch is there, and micke is just the leader. As Nisha will follow right afterwards, and there goes Boxi. Falcons, they'll give up their gyro, but who the hell cares? You get 3 in return, and 2 of those are going to be cores. That is huge for Falcons.
That's just massive for Falcons. After what was a very slow start with Liquid taking control, Liquid, they just let off the gas a little bit, allow Falcons to play that early to mid farming game that they love to take at around minute 15, minute 10, and Falcons come out of it. They've got the investment all done on Skitter with the Radiance BKB in the blink. He's ready to take point for the team. There's not enough damage to kill him off. Like, you can with the focus fire, it just isn't fast enough. And you've got to expand so much to just try to keep Skitter down that it will provide openings for ammar to come in. It will provide openings for the saves from Crit and for some angles here from Mallory that
Top
it
tower is about
just
to be
becomes way
radiant.
too difficult
Top
for
tower
Liquid.
has fallen.
Falcons find that tier 1 up top, starting to again, take control of the map where they can. And the side of Liquid, waiting for more. And the Bloodstone from Micke, it shows up. It doesn't achieve as much as they want it to. You don't have additional protection. The big factor in that last fight's really the fact that saberlight just got blown apart. So you couldn't rely on like a repel on this flash rack up front. You didn't even have Guardian Angel come into play. And you've got to be able to angle yourself here on saberlight. He needs to play forward enough for the team. At the same time, not put himself in direct danger that he's the one blown up first.
Maybe another big smoke up Falcons. Looking towards the bottom lane. You've got Insania around that area. You've also got Nisha. Saberlight will leave. Seems like Insania is the one who could be in a spot of danger. Having a look around. Will run directly south where Insania. Still not showing quite under vision. Skitter going to reveal himself now. The acid spray, and that'll be enough for everybody to back out of there from Team Liquid. They are going to be perfectly fine.
You look at the vision game coming out from Falcons. Very protective of that bot area right now. They've got some good boards watching the entrances. This tier 1's the last really outer tower, like further out. Tier 1 tower here for Liquid. That's their one launching point in trying to run down bot with this asymmetry that they've created for themselves. And you're just ensuring that these movements from Liquid just won't pan out. Again, they're happy to farm here on Falcons. They've got that 15k net worth on the Alchemist for Skitter, 5k ahead of the next hero here from Liquid, which is Nisha. And they're just taking their time. It's on Liquid to try to do something.
Bottom lane, stun was out, Marine. The shard off, maybe look at the snipe. Of course, nobody rotating for Insania. He will just go down as Skitter will take himself a very free kill. Top lane in the meantime, boxi forced to teleport away, but the disruption is there from Crit to ensure he remains locked down. And Liquid, they will lose their support duo once again. Falcons just across the map, finding these little value plays. Or at least you don't lose any cores on Liquid, but it's still looking like an extremely tough game for him.
And it does. Would want to point out, Ammar did pick up the Whisper of the Dread that our panel was talking about. So you do have that tunnel vision, that 10% increased spell damage.
Yeah.
On the Viper. Just a great little thing to have on a tier 2. Great feeling. And it's a great feeling for Falcons now as well. Taking point around their Tormentor, and they've got this 6k lead, most of it on the Elk. Well, you could argue Falcons will want to get more done on the map, as that net worth advantage starts to hold less weight as the game drags on to, say, a long ways off. There's still time here for Falcons to push this advantage, and for Liquid to try to brave the storm. They're still hanging on to their tier 2s, no movement forward from Falcons. They would want to set up some vision by Roche, which they do have down bot, at least on the outside area in the lane, nothing too far in. They've got to keep an eye out for whenever Falcons actually might want to go into that objective. Like, one pickoff into Roche is a danger point for Liquid. And their chances are they're just waiting for this AC to be done on Skitter to speed up that process into the eventual Roshan.
Yeah, absolutely. Skitter's had the freest Alchemist game of his life. In this game, number 2, just absolutely no contest. Dying once, but that's really about it. And you are seeing him enjoy some more ancient stacks for himself. Well and truly the leader in terms of the net worth forward. There's just no stopping him, it seems, as the AC will certainly come out very, very soon. Liquid, they understand they are behind. They've got to hit them some item timings themselves. Mostly, I think the BKB is probably what they're going to be looking for here in this game. And perhaps once the BKBs are up, you could try and move back in towards Falcons. As, speaking of Falcons, they are going to get a very nice scan off onto the side of Liquid. But boxi, saberlight, feeling like something is a little bit awry here, will leave the area.
Keeping it safe on Liquid up top. Trying to sneak with a smoke here. Ammar.
Now he's okay. Okay, Nisha gonna find it. ATF, he could bait for his team though. He is by the tier 1 tower. Problem is ATF is dropping rather quickly, so he is down. Now the gyrocopter, sneyking, he is gone to boot by the looks of it, though he will still have a little bit longer, but it seems like he is down. However, Micke is being controlled up by Skitter. Skitter will take him down as well. The saberlight, they will leave. It's still a 3-for-1 trade in the favor of Liquid, and a very nice team fight for Liquid, something they desperately need.
That's the opening they're looking for, forcing a movement out from the side of Falcons. A little bit awkward on the right side for boxi. I believe he did end up trapping himself early, but doesn't matter in the end. They just bring their forces to bear. They've got some of those early BKBs that they've been looking for, and they can leverage that damage. There's enough sustain here to play with for micke for the most part. And this time around, see the difference when saberlight is allowed to play his game. When he's allowed to use the repel, allowed to use the guardian angel, and when they can take care of crit. You remove that shadow demon from the equation, this Omni Knight becomes a beast when he's playing with something like the Leshrac up front.
You're gonna find that amplified damage rune as well. Yeah. Go ahead and protect that from Malrine. Because obviously you really cannot afford to give too many fights like that away back towards Liquid. It only takes one or two to make the comeback happen. And Skitter, while he is top of the net worth board, he does not want to be seen dying like that, as they are going to go for a 4-man smoke now. Falcons heading towards the north, understanding they are still the much stronger team. And BKB up now on ATF to boot. Towards the north they go, but Liquid playing the avoid game very, very well. Not really giving the position out here for Falcons to abuse. And well, Falcons, they are going to have a search around, but this does mostly seem like wasted time.
And they've had some good defensive boards on Falcons' hand, a little bit dark in the forward parts of the map. They could try to maybe take this gate across into Roche if they want, but they're just setting a trap here. No one taking bait on the side of Liquid, as they've got some pretty good forward boards themselves, some good defensive boards actually on Liquid's end to kind of get a sense as to whenever anyone's missing. Heck, even boxi a little bit of a station here, watching this area to break smokes. They get a read. Roshan will still begin. Falcons are getting to it, but Liquid knows it's happening. There is this ward. Watch Liquid move in though.
Could be a massive Roshan fight for Liquid. Not here at the right time. Problem is Falcons, they do have the high ground. Is there, Skitter, he's going to find himself in insania, but they will save it now. The shackle comes out, Skitter! Oh, he's pretty deep at the moment. Skitter's going to find a way out of this. He'll pump his BKB and just walk back towards boxi. Meanwhile, the rest of Falcons, they've been pincered in. This is not the fight they were looking for. They'll lose Malrine by the looks of it as sneyking goes down. Micke's still chasing Malrine. Malrine is gone now on the side of Falcons. Just need to get the hell out of there. Is ATF trying for the TP, but Nisha, he's going to cancel it off. ATF's got no choice but to man up and try to fight back. There's a buyback up from sneyking. In comes Skitter again. Micke being targeted, but Nisha gonna lock him down, and Skitter is gone. Oh my goodness! They'll continue the fight as crit will follow, and sneyking. All he can do is run. They forced the fight. They're hoping for the Roshan play, but now it's a guaranteed Roshan to go the way of Liquid. Nothing Falcons can do about it.
Hey, they had a forward vision. They had a good sense for that smoke. They tried to find an angle out of Skitter.
Boy.
He jumps in without popping the BKB first, and the chain control from Liquid was perfect. It's just, they need to be able to get that pick off fast on Falcons. Instead, Liquid are the one to find it.
This is a problem.
And this is going to be a massive issue going forward. As that entire fight, again, they had that forward ward and Falcons watching by the ramp. And just, they jump in with Skitter first. I love the confidence coming out from him, but it's such a risk when you lose this out early.
Absolutely, and of course Skitter did not have buyback available in that team fight to rejoin, even if he wanted to. And well, now you're only less than 1k ahead of your Falcons. That whole Alchemist lead that you had is just basically naught. And Skitter, if he's not allowed to just stand there and hit people throughout these fights, all that farm means nothing. We kind of saw that in that last engagement, and suddenly Liquid, momentum behind them now, could have a great way of coming back into this game. Number 2 is Malrine gets aggressive mid lane, is forced to snowbird back towards the creep wave. He's going to try and jump in on Micke. Micke though does get healed up here by saberlight, and they want that fight. ATF needs to run. Skitter, I'm not sure this is what you wanted, sir. He'll try to back his way out of there with the stun being channeled up. Skitter is still on the run, but the stun lands. Oh my goodness. Micke to take him down. sneyking, he'll be the next target. They might just lose 3, they might even lose 4. ATF will try to get out. That's the teleportation. boxi will ensure there is no way out. And Liquid, they lose nothing.
Oh, Falcons just trying so hard to jump in aggressively.
It's so forced. It just feels too forced here from Falcons.
I get the confidence coming out from Falcons. They've got the nullifier, you know, they've got demonic cleanse, they've got demonic purge. They feel like they can start to find these targets, but there's just too much durability. The Kayan Sanj being out on Micke, all the sustain the Bloodstone's providing him on this Lesh. That and the fact that you also have to just instantly pin down saberlight. They're just way too tanky. you don't have that quick burst on the side of Falcons. You do have ways of repositioning, and I'm just surprised Falcons aren't just going for the safe bet. Going in, getting the Walrus kick out with Malrine, and looking for that pickoff first before translating that into a wider fight where a 4v5, if you find the right one, say, if you find Saberlight kickback, and you somehow take control from, that's where it can open up.
Malrine, he denies a ward, but they know he's there. Liquid, they've made their move down towards the south, hoping to find themselves a Tusk, but Malrine will be able to escape. He is okay. Liquid now, the one smelling the blood on the water, really want every single team fight they can take. Falcons, they've got to be the ones to maybe allow Liquid to initiate first and just find a good counter initiation for themselves.
Warriors of the wood.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Falcons, they'll go back into that Radiant triangle. They'll support themselves around that area. Team Liquid go through the bottom lane. You see a crit, an Ags being built up on crit now, so crit gonna have those multiple charges of the Demonic Purge and the Demonic Cleanse, of course, is mid lane. Bit of an attempt onto boxi, not really gonna work out, and now the bottom tier 2 tower is gonna be focused by Liquid.
Tower is under attack.
This is where their push can really kick in. Maxed out Edict, towers just melt. Can even threaten onto the high ground. They've got the BKB still ready to go. Age is still up for a minute 40 for micke. Nothing to scare them off. And with his high ground kind of movement, Saberlight, he can just take the rear position with how tanky micke is and just ensure the Leshrac can get that job done. They will play it safe. They'll just back off and try to apply pressure elsewhere. Ammar would be a great target if they could pin him down.
Oh, Ammar's gonna be so careful. They'll see him, they'll jump in, they'll try for the Viper. Ammar force the BKB and back away. He'll be fine for now. Skitter, though, is channeling a stun.
Oh.
He's gonna jump in aggressively. There's no BKB available though for ATF. I don't think he wanted the fight. Meanwhile, Crit also getting caught for a moment. Sneyking just trying to retreat as Malrine will save him, but Malrine, you're the mid-tusk. He will be fine though. He will barely get away as Skitter again gonna jump in aggressively, but Nisha had the BKB and now Skitter is trapped, but will be all right. Liquid will not commit for the fight. Very risky plays from this Alchemist, but I suppose with the state of the game the way it is, you've got to take some risk.
And Skitter's been taking a lot of risk for his team, especially since that Roche fight. Again, he's the guy taking point. There's maybe a lack of clear initiation and some just disjointedness with how they're moving. Again, they've got this really safe initiation with just blink in, snowball, kick back, and try to blow someone up. Except, who do you blow up? Saberlight's tough to pin down. We see micke kicked in. He's just going to regen right through, and Saberlight's going to be there at some point to provide even more sustain. At this point, for the side of Falcons, it feels like maybe you have to consider getting something to stop this regen.
Maybe they can intervene. They've got Saberlight with the kickback. He was trying to go after the Tormentor, so Saberlight taking a fair bit of damage for now, but he's still a very tanky target. The shards will lock him in though, and Saberlight, no way out of that one. Falcons, they will fight back. They'll protect their own Tormentor.
That is a huge opening for Falcons. Like just having Saberlight sit alone like that, get kicked back, not respecting how close that is to the tier 2, how close it is to TP points for Falcons. Some decent punishment out for the side of Falcons, and well, that's sort of what we need to see, except you're not going to see that situation where Saberlight's all by himself all too often. But if you can isolate this Omni Knight by himself, by all his lonesome for some reason around the map, then that's when the game opens up. Set up some vision around in some cheeky areas. We've seen Falcons do this before. Stuff like the ramp by Roche, or behind, closer to the wells up top. And you can start to make it work, or at least find these opportunities to make it work for you here. As Liquid, despite that loss, they're still in control. 7k up against an Alchemist. They've got 2 heroes with equal net worth. The Skitter, you don't have that item advantage to leverage on your Alch any longer. They will try on to him.
Skitter's been caught. Disruption will save from crit, but micke looks like he wants to commit. Skitter, he's dropping slow down low. Skitter is gone. micke will go for more. ATF barely able to TP away, but you've lost the Alchemist. I'll tell you, oh, and sneyking now. Oh, sneyking. He could not get away either. Team Liquid finding even more value. And I'll tell you what, John, I don't think anyone else from Falcons is carrying this game. You are heavily reliant on this out.
That you are. Like there's no gold on anyone else. There is scaling on the others, but that is item reliant. And side of Liquid, it can just show us how vulnerable Falcons did. They only really have like temporary stage. They don't have
Big corner of the Viper, and he's just melting. Great full save. The kickback as well, just ensuring there's no help to come. micke trying to at least take the Lowry with him. micke, oh, skitter. Skitter has gone another time. That was the time I believe on the Alchemist as well. At 3 down, another buyback from ATF, but this game is looking harder and harder as Team Liquid should be able to start looking towards that high ground. Nisha, Shackle, not going to latch. Malrine will be okay in Liquid. They are still going to play safely. They are all quite low, and even without the Alchemist, they don't want to risk it against this Viper.
They take a conservative approach. They've found a lot off the back of these fights. Just all this burst damage starting to come in is insane. Having that Nemesis Curse apply onto the Alp, just having even more amplification. And there's nothing to easily dispel any of this if the BKB's down. You don't have anything on hand. You don't have something like your own Omni Knight. You're just reliant on either getting a snowball save or disruption to stall for time. And even that has just fallen short here for the side of Falcons. Liquid playing very cleanly since taking their time, slowing down the game a bit past that laning phase. The investment for them now is kicking into full gear. And for Falcons, this high-speed tempo that you're looking for with the Alk, it's tapering off. Skitter isn't even the highest net worth hero, and they're not able to really redistribute this farm elsewhere. Like, Ammar's not getting as much farm as you'd want him to on this Viper. Stuff like his Shard, which would be really nice if they were sieging, it's not there. It's not the priority as well, considering this game. Malrine, he's been doing his best with some kickbacks, but it just feels disjointed. Like, they're jumping in, and Skitter, it seems like, just feels the pressure to start these for his team, but there's no one there to help make these fights easier for him.
Tell you what, I love this new item as well here on Nisha, like the Nemesis Curse. It really is the perfect item on this WindRanger, right? Like, just the extra damage, the damage amp as well. It's just really, really perfect.
It just makes Skitter so squishy. Like, that's the main thing. They focus fire him down, and then just having all of this AoE coming out from micke.
Ammar, he fought back. He cannot afford this. He will try for the TP away. Do they have the damage? They do not. That's his BKB down for 80 seconds, though. Team Liquid, they could try and force an opening out of this. And, well, the opening, Jonathan, is Roshan, because it's up in 20 seconds.
And they've got control over the area. There's no forward vision from Falcons to watch that spot any longer. And being down one BKB on one force, it takes away a lot of your confidence in trying to contest an objective like that. We'll force in the tier 2 first. Pings are coming out. They should get a read onto Roche. Boxi already set the scout out. And at Roshan, that's going to open up high ground. That's the only objectives left here for Liquid. This is not something Falcons can afford to give away, but again, the information's just not there for Falcons. They're hugging the other side of the map.
And there goes Roshan. Team Liquid, they'll get it started. The Falcons showing absolutely no will to try and fight this one out. They'll of course know about it because the Roshan Rory is going to be there, but it won't matter. It is lost very, very quickly here to Team Liquid. Of course, micke to take the Aegis, Nisha to pick up the cheese. And it seems like they are ready, well and truly, to go for another fight.
They've got control. They've got the tempo on the side of Liquid. It's down to Falcons now to maybe play a little bit of split push, try to get some lanes in their favor, get some shove out. It's really difficult when you're up against Nature's Prophet, though. Boxi doing a great job of just using that Nature's Call to just constantly ensure that their lanes are at least at equilibrium. You're not allowing any sort of sneaky openings for Falcons to lay onto any tier 2s, to sneak away any extra farm, and just choke them out. The wards from Falcons, again, they've been great defensively. They're not able to find any openings off the back of them. At best, just avoid as much as possible. But at this point, there's only so long you can avoid Liquid Sages. Like, they are going to be set to go. And micke is trying to hunt fairly deep. Again, no deep vision as well for the side of Liquid. So, a little bit of a shot in the dark, but crit.
Bottom lane. A shot, crit is going to be left behind. Crit is down. sneyking coming in as well, has also been caught out. Boxi will just trap him in with the creeps. And there is no way out of that situation. 2 supports dropping once again for Falcons. micke, mid lane, he's going in by himself onto the Alchemist, but will have to retreat. Not feeling safe against ATF's Viper on top.
That's really confident out from micke. just going on to 2 cores by himself, the rest of his team across the map, and still managing to force them back. Is getting some good pressure onto that mid. I do love as well how boxi's playing this game. Like, he gets the Treant talents, and then he just pops that Curse of the Old Growth with all those Treants around one hero. So much damage, so much control. Makes it difficult for anyone to try to find a way out, and just makes it easier for the side of Liquid to keep this ball rolling. The amplified damage rune here as well is spotted by Saberlight, so a little bit more to add onto that spice for this eventual high ground push with the Aegis, which still has 3 minutes. Falcons' options are growing limited. It's down to what they've been finding some limited success with earlier, which is just Malorine finding a nice solo pickoff somehow. They don't have the vision to sustain that. Like, even some closer defensive wards would make a huge difference here. Just really far out vision right now.
It's not just the damage amp rune that you've got as well for Nisha, by the way. He did pick up a full Daedalus now, so this could be a very scary fight as ATF being dragged back. Does go for the BKB. There will be no cancel for that, but you're now losing a BKB for 80 seconds. If you want to go high ground, you know this Viper is going to be feeling very susceptible.
It's your opening on the side of Liquid. And the high ground hold of Falcons, it's not amazing. It's just down to how well can Malorine kick back. How well can he find some targets? They do see boxi. Malorine is smoked up.
micke into 3 heroes. He's still going to move in though. ATF, he will get stunned up. micke feeling like a bit of a Giga Chad though. He's taking a fair bit of damage, but Saberlight's right behind him. That's where the confidence comes from, because ATF, he's got no one to save him. He is without a BKB. He needs to save himself, and he looks like he is just dead. That is your Viper down. 90 seconds without Viper. On they go onto the tier 3 bottom tower. They need a creep wave though. The creep wave currently is non-existent. Instead though, Crit has been caught on the Shadow Demon, or at least spotted. Saberlight will chase him down. Crit will be able to barely blink away. Meanwhile, Nisha looking towards sneyking in the Radiant base. Crit still running, but boxi right behind him does get the spread up. So Crit is down. Tips out from Saberlight.
Does stall for time. And Malorine, while all of that breaks out, he TP'd out into the outpost. That did give him a chance to cut the creep wave. At the same time, you just removed your biggest tool in these fights. You didn't have the kickback. You didn't have a way. You're just trying to drag that control back your way. And here goes the high ground without those buybacks. It doesn't take too long for micke to melt through it.
No, it definitely does not. micke will make very short work of it. Nisha there to back him up, and it's so hard when you know the Omni Knight's right behind the Lesh. It's like, how do you actually kill this guy? The answer is yet to be found here by Falcons. Still 3 versus 5, so it's not a fight they're going to try and force. They're at least going to try and wait for Crit and ATF to be back up. They'll chip away at micke, but micke has his fountain right behind him in Saberlight.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under
Gale forces out Nisha. Oh, that's a shackle flying out from Nisha. It won't matter yet. The snowball does save. No, in fact, it does not. Skitter is gone, and so is sneyking. No buyback available. What a setup from Nisha.
Liquid are just so terrifying now at this point with all the control, but how well they can sustain up front, but how confident they are with Nisha and micke.
Go. Malorine, he'll go for the kick back into the tier 4 towers. micke, he has his BKB. He could not give a crap. It's the side of Falcons that are burning to the damage. Malorine is gone. micke and Nisha moving back into the fountain. They are just fountain farming him now. micke getting kicked in. Can he survive? Nisha will take the hits from the fountain. micke just going to TP away as Malorine is gone. And GG is called. Oh, what a way to finish here for Liquid. We are going to a game 3.
What a spectacular fashion to go into that game 3 as well. Falcons, they were getting crushed in lanes. You know, they were getting some early rotations out from Liquid. Boxi just being a maniac on that Nature's Prophet. They slowed down a bit,